probably the king of Twitter. I think this guy is a professional social media guru. He grew our Twitter substantially. He grew our TikTok substantially. This is a professional in the game, and I don't know if I'm even allowed to say his last name, so I'm just going to call him, welcome on in, Reds Daily Greg. Greg, how are we doing, buddy?
Doing great, Elliot. Happy to be here. I don't know about all those words you just said about.
Oh, those are great words.
True, but
you didn't like those words?
I mean, it's very kind of you. Very kind of you.
Yeah, I went on a big trip, Casey, with Greg. Greg was he was in the caboose of our Chatterbox van, and he was a good soldier back there. He kept the morale up when things were going bad. Towards the end, there was an incident. I don't know if you remember, Casey, that happened towards the end of that trip. Yeah, kind of ruined the trip. Greg was the guy that kept us in line. He kept my wits about me. Greg, what are your thoughts initially? And what a horrible transition by me. What are your thoughts initially after last night's win for the Cincinnati Redlegs?
Man, I'm fired up.
You sound fired up. That was the most fire. Here's Casey. Ask me the question I just asked him. Really.
Hey, Elliot, how do you feel about the Reds win last night?
Yeah, fired up. I mean, that's the reaction I just got from our guy Greg. So I'm going to ask you again, Greg, and let's see if you put a little different cadence in your voice. Greg, what are your thoughts on last night's Reds victory?
I was doing my Bill Belichick, I was doing the Bill Belichick. I was like mumbling through, doing my David Bell.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here. The guys are playing great. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, it's pretty incredible that Elly De La Cruz is a Cincinnati Red. I mean, you just watch a game like last night, and that guy's never been on our team. Like you were always watching him from the other team, and I mean, that's baseball too. Like the Reds have lost 14 of 17 games going into last night, and then they're playing a team that has the best roster in Major League Baseball, and they win in dominant fashion. I mean, it was never really a question if they were going to win once they were up 4-0, which we haven't felt like that all year. So baseball's a crazy sport, man. I know it's been a tough times for us Reds fans lately, but last night was encouraging. Maybe we can build on that. I think if we split the series against the Dodgers, I'll be happy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You guys, listen, Trace wanted like a 4 games under 500 record during this stretch. Kirby was like, we can go 10 games under 500. You're saying let's split the series after a massive win last night. Come on, we can win this series. We can beat the Dodgers. I think we've owned them the past 2 years. We can win this series. You mentioned Elly De La Cruz, and I'll ask you a little bit about Elly De La Cruz because we talk a lot about expectations when it comes to this fan base. No expectations were higher on a player, maybe ever in my lifetime, than Elly De La Cruz. Having him exceed those expectations this early in the season, and I have a couple stats. There was, Casey, do we have that graphic? I could be wrong. That graphic with Elly De La Cruz's prediction numbers. Yeah, let's put this up there. So this was a prediction coming into the season. 30 stolen bases, 21 home runs, 5 triples, blah, 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 blah. That was the prediction coming in. He has hit 30 stolen bases, Greg. 30 stolen bases, and it's May 17th. He did it on May 16th. No player has done that. Ronald Acuna led the league with 70. He didn't get 30 until the middle of June last season. This is what you're getting with Elly De La Cruz. How fun is it for you? And maybe, I could be wrong in this. You're not too much older than me. Has there been another player anywhere close to the excitement, to the electricity of Elly De La Cruz in your lifetime?
I don't think so for me. I mean, I remember watching Billy Hamilton in the minors. He'd steal like 100 bases, and you're like, that guy's going to be electric. And then we found out he couldn't hit to get on base. So things went poorly quickly with Billy Hamilton. But Elly De La Cruz he's electric. He's just absolutely electric. That graphic that MLB put up beginning of the year, I mean, that might go down as the worst graphic of all time. I mean, 30 stolen bases. He's got 30 stolen bases a month and a half into the season. That should be I should get that in a frame and just put it right behind me and just put MLB old takes exposed. Because that's just, I don't know where they got that prediction. He had 30 stolen bases almost last year, I think, in like half the season. So, but yeah, he's just electric. I mean, he's absolutely electric. He's so much fun to watch. Every time he gets up to the plate, you're pumped to watch him, whether the Reds are getting killed, whether they're winning. He's just so much fun to watch. And no, I don't think there's another Reds player in my lifetime that I've enjoyed watching more than Elly.
Going back to that expectation expectation thought, because I think a lot of these Reds, a lot of the rookies, the young guys, they had expectations that maybe were too high for them to touch. Maybe they were too high for the fan base to put on them. We look at a guy like Will Benson, a guy I thought coming into the season, again, I expected him to be an elite player for the Cincinnati Reds. Maybe I shouldn't have thought that. Maybe that was too high of a bar to meet. But do you think up until this point, and I know he hit a home run last night, and he got a hit against the Diamondbacks the night before. I know all of that, but saying that, is there a chance Will Benson becomes an everyday outfielder? Because it seems to me, against lefties, he's just so bad right now that you can't even consider it for him.
Yeah, I guess there's a chance, but he's been pretty bad against left-handed pitching, and he's been above average against right-handed. The batting average isn't great against right-handed pitching, but his other advanced stats are all above average against right-handed pitching. I guess there's a chance he could play, but I don't see it. I mean, it's funny because he wanted all offseason. He's saying, I want to face left-handed pitching. I want to face left-handed pitching. Well, you got to face left-handed pitching, and boy, did it go poorly. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how many times they're going to keep rolling him out there. If the injuries keep happening like they do, maybe he keeps getting some chances. But I don't see it. I mean, I think he's kind of a platoon player, and I almost think too, when he was struggling as a whole, I think he was struggling against righties because of he's a player who plays with a ton of confidence, and when he was struggling against lefties, I think that carried over against righties a little bit. So I don't see it, but maybe there's always a chance. There's always a chance, but I don't see it big picture.
I don't think I see it either. As of right now, obviously our opinions can change as the season goes on, but we'll see. Starting pitching, jumping over to the pitching side of things. Last night, obviously, a crazy game when it comes to pitching. You start with an opener. You use, 6, 7 different pitchers, and you get through it. But we lose Nick Lodolo. You lose Nick Lodolo, a guy that's been up until I think his most recent start, he's had an incredible season. You have Hunter Green, you have Frankie Montas. He missed a little bit of a time after a comebacker. You have Andrew Abbott pitching 7 scoreless innings. You have Graham Ashcraft, who's been solid this season. The starting pitching's been incredible. They've carried the load. Is there a chance the starting pitching is this good? We talk about expectations. We expected this starting pitching to get better and better after last season. It's gotten better. It's gotten a lot better, and my whole thing is if they can stay healthy, I think they are this good. But in your opinion, is water going to find its level with this starting pitching at some point this season? Are they going to struggle, or is this starting rotation actually as good as it is?
I think they're pretty good. I think the thing with this rotation is there's no surefire ace right now. Even with Lodolo, I don't know if you could say he was a surefire ace. Hunter Green's been pretty good this year. He's just getting better and better. But they're just all pretty good. They're all pretty good pitchers. Even, who's the worst pitcher in the rotation right now? Not counting Nick Martinez, but Graham Ashcraft. And even he's going to go out there and, give you innings and keep you in the game. He might give up 3 runs in 5 innings, but you can still be in ball games that way. But I am a little bit worried that when the offense has been doing this bad, that the offense will come alive and all of a sudden the pitching will struggle just because, I don't know. I guess that's what I think too. How us Reds fans think, But I think they do have a pretty good rotation. I think overall for the year, I think they'll be pretty good. But at some point, I do worry about the offense coming together and the pitching starting to struggle.
Do you think we'll see Brandon Williamson this season?
I do. I think we'll see him. I almost would wonder if they would put him in some kind of bullpen role.
That's what I thought
Nick
too.
Martinez and throw 3 or 4 innings out of the bullpen, because I'll say, watching Brent Suter and Nick Martinez do what they do out of the bullpen, that's a weapon out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
To be able to bring somebody in and pitch 2 to 3 innings and save the rest of the guys. I mean, we saw what happened at the end of last year when we had Buck Farmer throwing 72 games and your boy Ian Jabot throwing 72 games.
It's our guy.
Things went poorly. So, I think it's a weapon. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Brandon Williamson in some capacity. I don't know if they're serious about him in the bullpen or if they want to do a 6-man rotation or what, but I do think we'll see him at some point.
Moving on to the